Do libertarians make a better community? I'm Mark Stewart, and I'd like to answer that in light of the heated discussion, it almost became overheated, that I had here in Brattleboro with some voters. Let me define myself. I am a candidate who calls himself a conservatarian, partly conservative, partly libertarian. The conservative is how I want to live my life and have the community around me behave. Conservative. The libertarian part is for governing the public, should I be elected. Which dominates? For me, it's the conservative. There's a private life that should be paramount, and government should be so minimized so that private is so dominant. I hate when I even hear the term public sector. That means our economy has a big wedge for public and not private. Public should be a sliver, like 1 or 2% of the activities of state and federal government compared to the rest of it. So even for the few of us who hold ourselves out as would-be public servants, the conservative is what should dominate. It should guide our lives, and here's how it affects one issue. The issue of how do we take care of or treat, if not take care of, disabled people in our community. Well, the libertarian philosophy repels some people who've gotten so used to government that they can think of no other good ways to make solutions. And to some, it's even worse. They think a libertarian way can't be good because it has minimal government behind it. To those people, I return to human solutions. Remember, government is an extension of human impulses. It codifies what we, hopefully it's a majority, but it might be an enlightened minority that say these are good things, and we want government to help facilitate that. But at the heart is a human impulse. Now, at the heart of doing things outside of government is a human impulse. And it's untarnished by political log rolling, untarnished by people who might want to pay you to do differently, untarnished by the desire to get reelected, untarnished by the desire to get campaign funds that help you get reelected. So who has the better morality here? The businessman who, on his own, no government force, sets up very good handicap access, or the businessman who, because of a government regulation, sets up similar handicap access. Who has higher admiration? The resourceful business person who lets the worker who's pregnant have special seating to make her exceptionally comfortable during her final months of pregnancy at work, or the business person who is commanded by government to have this same special seating. I think the morality of the ones who do things without government is in a higher place. Now, some will say, well, the reason that those two businessmen, the resourceful one with the pregnant worker, the one who's looking out for the handicap, they're doing it because they want to make more money. They don't want the worker to quit. They don't want to have the customers that would be handicapped go elsewhere. Possible. And guess what? Capitalism is what impels most of these businesses to do the right thing. So even if the business owner is a turd, he doesn't want to help disabled people, he better or lose a good segment of his population. That's not just the handicapped, but it's those of us who sympathize with the disabled. That's not just the pregnant worker. It's those of us who are feminists who want to see all women be comfortable in the workplace. So capitalism, the profit motive, ends up leading even the reluctant businessman to do the right thing. It's such a beautiful thing. By contrast, what does government do? Government occasionally commands the right thing. Occasionally it misses, though, because government acts on the behest of some people in power. Well, if nobody gets to the right legislature about that small sliver of women who want to work throughout their term of pregnancy, then government doesn't get the mandate. Or even if they do hear from the right people, maybe it doesn't get passed because, gee, I can't get colleagues on the other side of the aisle. I'm the legislator who sympathizes with you, but I'm sorry, no. You hear this all the time from well-meaning people who petition their legislator and they can't get it through. You don't hear that about capitalism. If there is a will, there's a way. If there's a demand, there is a group that satisfies that demand. And that group could go larger and larger as the first group gets richer and richer because they're doing it well. The beauty of capitalism versus government control is highest when you're talking about people who don't have a good enough voice in government. Last example, Narcan. In some cities, it has been commanded to be made available to people who might have gotten strung out from a bad overdose. In other places, it's available anyway. It's beat to the races in communities that, without government, said, we're going to make this happen. We want to take care of people who are stricken. The politician is an extension of the human. But the politician has too many other forces to make our human impulses come to fruition fast enough and well enough. Capitalism is the best ever invented, and that's why I think it comes from God. You can't get a more sublime way of getting people what they need without force. That is what capitalism has been doing for 3,000 years. If you want to raise extra money to help people that capitalism at times omits, well, the wealth that capitalism gives us is what allows charity to take care of the rest. You put free market capitalism and private welfare together, you have the makings of a beautiful society. I'm Mark Stewart.